Hello, friends. It is Keith and James here at Essex Recording Studios with legendary Andy Sneap,
Stop it.
mixer, master,
Stop
producer,
it.
guitarist extraordinaire, playing for Judas Priest. Holy smokes! And you brought some toys for us today. Thank you so much. These are incredible. We've got some Edwards V's and a vintage Fender Strat. We'll chat about those a little bit later. But Andy, man, great to have you here. Tell us about what you got going on right now.
Well, I can't mention what I'm doing right
Can't
now.
mention what you're doing right now. Okay,
No.
top secret.
Well, obviously, the old virus has affected everyone, but I'm just trying to get a bit more mixing work at the minute. But hopefully back to the US as soon as possible to finish Accept. We did, just when this thing kicked off, I was out in Nashville actually doing the Accept record, so I had to come home while this was all going on. So I finished that off, and then we're looking at starting the Exodus record in September out in California. And then probably, don't know yet, I mean, we're talking about doing the Priest record at the end of the year, but again, depends on whether people can come in and out of the country and visas and how we can work that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Right on, man. Well, James, you've been talking to Andy here for the past few minutes, and one of the things that we're trying to do here, this is a new studio. We're trying to get involved in the rock and metal community here in Essex and here in the UK. What advice do you have for up and coming producers and people getting into the music business, kind of on the back end, not the artist side, but on the production, recording, producing side, in this day and age in 2020? If you want to be successful and build a career, what advice would you give from all the lessons you've learned and all the roads you've traveled?
I mean, I've always just put 110% into stuff, and just attention to detail, politeness. Worked hard, delivered albums on time. Just good work etiquette, really. I mean, working within a budget. Just trying to understand what the musician's after. Trying to focus the band's vision, really, and not step on it too much with your own ideas. You've got to steer the ship. You're the guy that's put in charge to with the budget, with the timing, with the whole thing, to oversee it, and you've got to. I think you don't realise how much you pick up over the years, but the way that you find the strengths in bands and make it work. So really, it's experience, really. I think just jumping straight in and trying to be at a certain level, you've got to work your way up the ladder. And
what would you say was critical to your journey working your way up the ladder? Was it being an artist?
No, I'd say getting to America. I got Colin Richardson got me involved on the second Machine Head record back in Christmas of '96, end of '96. And I've just been working, since my band had split up in the early 90s. I've been working at studios in Nottingham, and I had my own little place. And then once I got to America and I met Monty from Roadrunner and Borovoy, who was at Century Media at the time, and I made some good connections out there. There's Metal Blade as well, because I was sort of one of the first guys to be seen doing a certain style of stuff. I got a foothold out there so I've been doing a lot of the newer bands for Roadrunner and Century Media, and I felt my career sort of take a step up then. So yeah, that's the best thing I can describe as being sort of a move forward. And from then on, it's sort of been, I've seen it go up and up and up and work my way up the ladder, just by sort of, people talk to people in the business, and like I say, if you do a good job, deliver albums on time, and bands come back to you build up that rapport.
It's very word of mouth, isn't it?
It is very. I think you can, you can advertise till you're blue in the face and sort of say, I've got this and this, but my studio's built on my reputation rather than the gear I've got in there, So
I think that's super important. Chatting to like a few bands I'm working with, and then hearing why they want to come back, because obviously you build up such a good relationship with them. But I don't suppose you get the phone calls all hours of the night from bands that you're working with, or through the day, or on a Sunday, you know.
Oh yeah.
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 It's the bane of my wife. You know, she hates it. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, I've got to take this one. It's Zach from Youth Illusion, or it's this, and I don't mind it.
No, that's part. I mean, you don't really have a weekend. I mean, I don't. But I've not had a life for about 30 years, really. So I'm kind of got used to it.
And so it was getting a foothold with the labels themselves, label executives themselves, that kind of led towards getting these projects. Or
yeah, I mean, because it's that old thing, isn't it? Of you know, keeping yourself in people's minds when they're thinking of who can we get to work with. You know, if the band doesn't really know who they want to work with, then if you're in the forefront of an A&R guy's mind, then you know, you'll get a call, you know, do you want to do a test mix on this? Or, you know, they'll send you the band's stuff to have a listen to for an opinion, you know. So that's always, you know, it's important to keep up a relationship with the labels and stuff.
Absolutely. Now, there's not many people that have had your journey and have played so many roles and worn so many hats. What's it been like being a performer, going on tour with Judas Priest, and being on stage and actually being in front of the fans and performing to these massive crowds?
I mean, I'd done quite a lot of gigging before I'd done that, but that was obviously on the next level up. So it was daunting at first because being sort of thrown into that position at such short notice. Yeah, I mean, I think any guitarist is going to be a bit of a, you know, oh shit moment, you know, which it was. But it's got slowly more and more comfortable. And they're great guys as well. I mean, everyone on the team is great. So it's been an easier ride as possible, I think, for a gig of that magnitude. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a dream come true, really. Because I like I said to you before, you know, when we were talking earlier, I didn't think at 50 I'd get the chance to do something of that size anymore. I thought my career as a guitar player was really on a back burner. Really, I thought I was going to be at the Running Horse playing covers, which I probably will be in another year's time. But you know, I'll give you a call and get my old Edwards back by then.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, yeah, I saw you on stage with this one in particular.
The white one we took out with us. And we put the Fisherman's in at the time when we were out on the road.
I didn't even notice they were Fishman's. Yeah, that's so cool. They got the vintage zebra style.
Yeah, they've got it's rechargeable as well there. So
oh, no kidding.
So that's cool. Just make sure when you plug that in, you plug it in the right way. Okay? Yeah, so that's good.
And tell us a little bit about these other guitars you brought. So we've got 3 Edwards here. Yeah, you're a big ESP guy.
Yeah, I just like the Edwards. That was when I was still drinking, that was an eBay score.
Nice.
2 weeks later from Japan that I forgot I even bought it.
Been there. Yeah. Definitely have been there.
Yeah.
And you got Duncan's in that. You got Fishman's, chrome-plated Fishman's in this.
These are the same pickups. They sound actually different because they're very different guitars. This has got the push-pull on it, set on it.
Oh, nice.
That's a high-frequency roll-off and the 2 voicings. That one's set on voice 2.
Okay.
Which was the hotter sort of side of it.
Love the flame top on that.
Yeah, so that's a cool guitar.
It does kind of have that Hamer V vibe.
Yeah, like the Vector, isn't it?
Yeah. And the Fishman's is funny. So you've obviously had a relationship with Killswitch Engage, and they seem to be the ones that have been at the forefront of this Fishman craze.
Ken from Unearth.
Yeah.
Ken Susie is the A&R guy for Fishman, so he's on everyone's backs trying to get them.
Trying to get them to use it. They look cool and they sound cool.
Yeah, and they've got a really. If you go in depth with them, the way they're building the pickups and the scanning, it's almost like they can mould it to any sort of sound you're after. There's a lot of different technology involved with the Fishmans.
Well, they've been for acoustics they've been around forever. You know, they've been all the Gibson Custom Shop stuff has.
These are the classics, the Fishman classics, rather than the moderns.
Okay.
And the Strat is just something I bought on a whim.
It's beautiful. It's 79 Strat. It's great. The condition looks great.
The colour as well, actually.
The color is gorgeous. Hold that up, James. It really goes nice with the white. And you can see the finish through it, which is pretty wild.
But it's just one. I've been on a bit of a strat kick recently. I got a black one in with a Kayla of all things in Chicago.
Okay. Where did you go to Chicago Music Exchange or
SS Vintage in Chicago? I got it from.
You know what? We've got a '65 Strat from them.
Yeah.
Here, it's real funky. It's black. It's got a black matching headstock. It had gone to a custom shop in like 1972. It's got all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, that's wild, man.
So I got that off them. I was digging it. But on all my Strat, I've got a 70. So that's a 77. That one's a 79.
Yes.
But I can't get on with the radius on those. It's 7.5, I think. On the
7.2.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
And I need the extra fret. So I've had the extra frets put on my two that I'm using.
Okay.
And I've had the lacquer taken off the neck, and I've had it re-radius to a compound radius on the fretboard. So it feels
on the
like
77.
So it feels more like a Charvel type vibe. Now.
Yes.
But that was one that I bought on a bit of a whim, and it was in such good condition that I didn't want to do that to it. But I just know I'm not going to play it. So while I was having the clear out, I thought, nah, get it out. And my plan. Selling this box here, I want to get something like a Gibson Heritage V. I want to get a guitar that's going to retain its value and have one good classic guitar out.
Yeah.
That's why I'm having a bit of a clear out. That's all.
Well, you also brought us something else a little special. That's upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really appreciate that, man. What can you tell us about that drum kit? It's Megadeth tour kit and recording kit.
Yeah, we used it on Endgame for a couple of songs while we were out in San Diego, and then it got shipped over to Europe for Sean to use as a European kit.
Okay.
So I used it for the European dates on that tour. And it's a bubinga kit, a Ddrum bubinga, and he sold it me after the tour finished because he didn't want to put it in storage, and he made me a good offer on it for the studio. And actually, I will point out that I'm not making any money on it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
so
that.
You're getting it at the same rate I got it.
Oh no, that's great, man. It's gonna go to good use here for sure.
This week, actually. So
actually, who do we have coming in next week for drums? Yes. Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Definitely. So, what's the one guitar that got away? One that you over all the years, either one that you almost had or one that you had and you sold and you wish you hadn't.
I haven't actually sold one that I wish I hadn't. It's funny we talked about SS Vintage because I was just saying today they had a Heritage in there that I got offered, and it was crazy. It was only like $2,000 or something, but it had the serial number scratched off it. So
put you off, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually wish I'd bought it now because it wouldn't have bothered me because I would have still used it live.
Yeah.
So it's obviously it's been stolen or something in its lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is a bit dodgy. But it's one of those where it would have been a good deal to have it.
What was your first guitar?
Yeah, my first guitar was a Starway, which is like one of is it Tyesco?
Okay.
You remember those with the light switches for the pickup?
Yeah.
That was they're worth like £900 now if you see them on Reverb.
Yeah.
Pop up all the time. I sold it I had a FAL combo, FAL. I think it might have been a bass combo or something at the time that my parents bought me for my 12th Christmas, and I actually held a gig in my bedroom on that day.
That's cool.
But it wasn't. But I had that, and then I got a Westbury Standard, which had DiMarzios in it, two cream DiMarzios, which was the first sort of playable guitar I had that I learned my first riffs and stuff on. Then I got a BC Rich NJ series.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That didn't last. I sold that to a friend. But then I got a Gibson V, a 79V, which I've still got, which I did the first Sabbath records with, that I've had sort of refurbed, and it's up and running again now.
What color is it?
That's a white one.
White one, okay.
So that's cool. That's a nice one to still have in the collection. But I sold the Starway guitar with the combo for £50 to Colesborough Sound in Mansfield, and got a JMP 2x12 combo for £250, which was my first proper Marshall amp.
Yeah,
it's a great amp actually. I've got one of those combos identical now. It's not the same one, but I bought another one again. So that was quite and it's funny because I've gone from gone round the houses with gear. You know, we use all these different amps and different guitars and different pickups, and I'm back using Gibson V's with a Duncan custom in, super overdrive pedal into a Marshall 800. It's
back to the basics.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong with it. You know, you can always find something that'll, you know, give you a bit more edge or something that's a bit flashier. But I think with that sort of basic setup for metal, you can't go far wrong. You know, we used to use a graphic back in the day as well, G7, and boost the mids into the Marshall. You know, but yeah, the old Tube Screamer or super overdrive into the front end of one of those Marshalls, and it's a classic sound, isn't it? You know?
Absolutely. So, as an artist to a engineer, producer, back to a performing artist again, and still producer, engineer, you've been around for the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
I'm an old fuck.
You're in your you're in your fifth
twilight years.
Fifth decade of being a professional in the rock and metal world.
No, not quite fifth. I'm in the fifth decade.
In the fifth decade. No, but what I'm saying is, you have seen a lot of changes, a lot of evolution. What do you think is the key to new artists, but also past artists, to maintaining dominance, relevance, and I guess innovation in this 2020 to 2030 decade?
I don't know. I mean, it's a golden question, isn't it?
I mean, if you're an older artist, is it just keep working that formula that's working? Just keep at it? What about the new guys? What would you recommend to them? You know, if you're coming into metal today,
just try and find something fresh. I mean, it's back in the 80s, every band that came along had something different about them, and it was usually the singer. You know, every singer had their own sort of unique take on things, and it's almost gone the other way now. When you look at that everyone's got to sound the same to fit into a certain genre now, to feel safe. You know, and every band back in the 70s and 80s were trying. You know, you could pick them apart on purely on the vocals a lot of the time. Even with if you're talking about metal bands from England, you know, Saxon, Maiden, Priest, you could tell Biff Dickinson or Di'Anno, you know, Halford, you could tell them apart.
Everyone's very distinct, sure.
Where now, if I listen to a lot of these bands that are out there now, I can't. But
it's interesting to say that, because if you look at bands like, you know, Queens of Stone Age, Jack White, Clyro, you know, a lot of the their singers all have very unique voices.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
that they're all doing slightly different.
That's my point.
So it's the same thing, and it is about being brave, because a lot of bands come through, young bands, and they're churning out very similar stuff and trying to play what's current today, which is never current, because
you're chasing the trend.
I mean, look at Billie Eilish. I mean, how she's just exploded, and like that vocal sound is, you know, she just kind of sings so quietly and
totally
unique. You know, people again gravitated towards it, and I think
you've worked with the biggest labels in the genre. What do you get a sense that they're looking for in this next decade, especially maybe from new talent?
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the bands I'm working with established, to be honest. So I don't know.
Would you have any advice to new acts as far as like trying to build the hype and make a splash and get noticed?
To be honest, I think a lot of the new acts have got a better idea of it than I have.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm a bit of stuck in the Stone Age as far as the whole internet and marketing and all that side of things. I mean, I think some of the way that these kids now are able to get the name out there with the internet and the social media side of things.
It's pretty incredible. Without having spent a penny, you know, you can upload a video and have people from every corner of the world see it. Whereas before, you know, the money had to be spent on
like MTV. And
I think a lot of the labels
ad placements and everything.
From some of these younger bands that are more switched on now have got a better idea than some of the labels now, to be honest. You know,
Fair point.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, the whole grand scheme of things has changed so much over the last 20 years, really, when you look at it. You know, I mean, the whole industry's just changed, you know. And it will do. It'll keep doing it as well, you know. And I think labels are very slow to pick up on the whole internet side of things. But it's, you know, everyone's realising the way it's going, and you know, everyone has to survive somehow. So everyone slowly is adapting, you know, in some way. We all will. We'll all survive and change.
Absolutely.
With the budgets, you know, because obviously budgets and have been slashed and what have you.
The whole business model's changed.
Yeah.
But then when I look at it, you know, budgets like I watched the making of the Black Album, and then right at the end of it, you see a Mercedes Sprinter van nearly fill up halfway with reel to reel.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that costs a lot of money.
I tell you, the shipping costs for FedEx on the More Things Change was, I think, $1,600.
Wow. Factor that into this. You don't think about that in a budget for shipping.
I mean, we you know, we didn't have a Mercedes Sprinter full of tape. We probably had about 6 or 7 reels, you know, and that just because it kept getting flown backwards across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm going to tell it the next band that comes in here and complains about the prices.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, because no longer using tape, you know, you haven't got engineers coming out. Obviously, the band aren't hiding costs within the tape budgets and what have you. Like the fact that things have been slashed. I mean, everyone's a computer now. You know, you're not having to pay for a plane to take something. So, have you noticed, as like being a self-employed, you know, producer, the budget's affected?
They've come down, yeah. I mean, but this is the reason. I mean, when I was first working out in America, I mean, we'd be spending close to $300,000 on an album.
Yeah, sure.
And I'd probably, you know, I mean, that Machine Head album, I got paid, I think, $1,500.
Wow.
Because I came in last minute and all the money had been spent already.
Damn it.
Yeah. But it was obviously a good foothold for me it was worth me doing it. Now, I remember thinking, I think I was out in Texas at the time, and we were in a $1,700 a day studio out there. They were paying for me, they were paying the studio, they were paying for accommodation. And I was thinking, what if I had my own place, which I had an ADAT studio back in the UK, but if I had a place where bands could stay, I could cut them a deal on the studio, I could cut them a deal on myself, and then at the end of the day, I'd be making more because I'd be taking a bigger chunk of the whole picture. But everyone would be winning because the label would get a cheaper deal. You know, everything would be sort of in-house almost. So that's what I did. I put Backstage together as a residential studio nearly 20 years ago now. And it's a way that a lot of places went at the same time. You saw a lot of producers having their own studios where they could bring everything to one rather than paying an extra, you know, a studio a large chunk of money. And that helped me, you know, grow financially then, because I was getting the studio fee as well, but obviously not charging that amount of money, but I was at least getting something back and paying for the gear. Yeah. So you've then got, you know, kind of like what you guys are doing. You know, you're paying for the gear. You know, I was using my production skills to pay for the career. For the gear. You know,
exactly the same.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
then you've got a, you know, a commodity at the end of it that you can always clear out later on. You know.
100%. Hey.
So that's kind of that was my little scheme back then, and I was kind of there at the right time. I was there when everything was beginning to go digital, so you weren't buying a Studer. You know, you could buy a Pro Tools setup. Yeah. It made it affordable to people, didn't it?
Was it like Pro Tools HD? I mean, 10 years ago was super expensive.
Well, I bought. I had a G3, and it would have been 98. I actually bought it to do the Blaze Bayley first solo album. And I bought a G3. I had Pro Tools 4.3.1, I think.
Oh, wow.
And what else did I get? It was the old 888 interfaces.
Yeah, the black ones.
Yeah. So that was my sort of big spend at the time, but it was, you know, that's how early I got into. I mean, there was obviously Pro Tools around before that. But that's and I was still using tape. We did some of it at Parr Street in Liverpool, and we were bouncing vocals onto tape, and back into Pro Tools and using the ADAT interface to do it and all that side of things. And then I think the first album I did where it was all Pro Tools was a Stuck Mojo album in Atlanta. And the Nevermore album, Dead Heart, I'd like to say we did that all on Pro Tools as well in Texas. I don't think we used tape on that.
That was still using the console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was an E-series on that. So I was using sort of Pro Tools more as a tape machine, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So,
very similar here, really.
And then slowly, obviously, as plugins have got better, I've sort of incorporated more and more of that and mixed more in the box. And then when I got my place running, I had the Control 24 to start off with, so I was mixing more in the box then. And then I've actually gone the other way. I've gone more sort of, brought more outboard gear in and the SSL in and, outboard rack stuff in. Same sort of thing really, obviously a smaller desk.
Well, yeah. But I tell you, the Pro Tools it's great that it has gone down. I mean, because I'm running it off my MacBook Pro, and then I just use the native.
Yeah.
But I remember looking into Pro Tools HD because I wanted more than 16 in or 16 out that it could give you.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like from KMR back in,
Yeah.
Fell over.
Yeah. Well, I've got. I'm just running a Mac Mini in my main.
Are you
room.
running a Mac Mini?
Yeah, with a chassis. I've got a Thunderbolt chassis and obviously the card in the chassis, and I've got a couple of UAD cards in the chassis.
Does it hold up? Does it fall over much? Or?
It's the session I'm doing at the moment is the first one I've done where I've kept the whole thing at 96k.
So you're recording at 96k, or you mixing at 96k?
I'm just mixing. It was recorded at 96k, and the computer fucking hates me at the moment.
And is your Mac Mini like got 32 gig of RAM?
No, it's only 16.
I see. I'm running 16. So
yeah,
that's fine.
But it's just tripping over itself, which is making me think I'm just waiting to see what's happening with the upgrades at the minute, because obviously.
Don't upgrade. I upgraded to 2020, the Pro Tools 2020.
Oh, I'm on that.
Oh yeah, I found that just went buggy straight away.
Really?
Yeah, mine did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to come in and remote in and
interesting.
Very weird.
Yeah. I've not had any problems like that, but I'll say that I do get problems with stereo files not playing certain sides sometimes, which is weird.
Oh no, I haven't had that.
CPU errors.
That's a bit weird.
But I think that's just because it's 96k and freaking it out.
Best thing I got was a thing called Clean My Mac.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
And then every time it gets a bit buggy, it's like free up some RAM, and it's mad. All these little things in the background, and then instantly I've got all my RAM back.
Yeah. I might try that on the main rig then. Actually, I've not tried that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
This question: what do you use for? Because I do a lot of remote mixing for people and that, and for playback over the internet, or do you do that? Or?
Yeah, I've got. Oh God, what is it? There's an audio listen thing.
Like listenable or something, is it?
Yeah, what is it? I can't remember what it's called, but I can stream it basically.
Yeah. Because I've been having issues. I just didn't know if you used a different one.
No, well, I'm having issues as well because it works when I stream it and I listen back to over the internet to myself.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for
them on that end.
Because they're getting it. It will either play a finding bit like a buffer, go and then kind of catch up with
but
itself.
I can't play anything over 128 an MP3.
Is it a black plugin, like called listenable or something?
Yeah, it's got receive. It's got a receive plugin.
Yeah, so it's the same one I've got. I've been chatting to them online saying like, and are you running it through the console by any chance, and then coming back in on like an aux channel? Or
well,
like
I'm basically I'm sending. Let's think about this. I'm sending out of Pro Tools, so I'll bounce back into Pro Tools my mix.
Yeah.
Send it out of that.
Oh, so you're playing back the bounce track?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering if it was messing up because I'd be playing back. I'd hit play and obviously it'd be coming through the Pro Tools console back into Pro Tools.
Yeah, it should work. Yeah.
No,
it works.
It kind of.
I do it that way. I'll do it that way, and I'll put an aux send out of Pro Tools and getting out onto the internet, and it does work because I've had it working. Wolf in Nashville was listening to it, and it was working for him.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it depends on the internet on their end, obviously as well.
It must be, yeah. I mean, we've got a gig line here, so we're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know if it was because the CPU was just doing too much, having to because it's going through the console back in. So
no, I don't think so. I mean, I'll do it. and listen back to my internet, you know, and it's about sort of half a second delayed when you listen back, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You know? So it's obviously it's going into the ether and back.
Yeah.
What are some go-to plugins that you're working with right now? You talked about, was it Parallax for the bass?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Parallax.
The FabFilter stuff I think is great, really good.
We're using a lot of that, aren't we?
Yeah, the UAD stuff as well I think is the best for accuracy. I mean the Distressor plugin's really good. I think the Unison stuff they do, you know, the mic pre's sound great.
I've heard a lot of good reviews about them.
Really.
The mic models, or is it just the mic pre's they have?
Yeah, I've got the little Apollo Twin that I take out with me on my laptop, and literally the knee of one of those, I think it's 1073, into the Distressor. It sounds great.
Yeah.
It sounds really, just track through it, and it's there. It just feels right reaction wise. Slate stuff's, you know, it's all right. Well, still Metric Halo as well.
That's great. That channel strip.
I love it on drums. That's
the
great.
high end on it. It's just super sweet.
And the compression's great on it as well.
And the gate, I found that being really good on snare.
And I tell you what, if they did the graphics on that, so it looked like an SSL, everyone would be falling over themselves for it.
Yeah, yeah. It does kind of, even cause with the updated one, it does kind of look old.
Yeah,
you know. But it
sounds
great.
great.
I think it's the EQ on that's absolutely. Well, Paul or someone you like swears by that as well.
Yeah,
you know?
really good. I mean, I could mix a whole album with just that. I think, you know, if I had to have one channel strip, it'd be the Metric Halo one.
Wow. Really okay.
Oh yeah.
A lot of classical guys use them.
Yeah.
If you had to be buried with 3 pieces of outboard gear, what would they be?
Oh God, buried 3 pieces of outboard gear.
What do you just find yourself using all of the time?
Outboard wise, Crane Song Spider. I've got the 8-channel pre that's there. That's great. Love that. I've got the AMEC 9098s that I've just had serviced as well, which are great. No, the EQs.
Oh, okay.
Mic pre and EQs, they're great. Distressors probably.
I think everyone says the Distressors.
Yeah.
Ever use a surprising bit of gear, or is there a bit of gear that the average listener wouldn't realize is actually like the secret behind a certain sound on a record or on a?
Not a secret behind a sound. I still love the old SPXs, Reverbs. That's probably because I was doing live work for so long and they were always in the rack, and there's a certain nastiness and that bittiness to the reverb that cuts in a mix. It's kind of like, I still use Deverb all the time in Pro Tools because it's got it's not too smooth, you know.
It's like the Bomb Factory 1176.
Brilliant. It's probably the best 1176 you can get. Yeah.
It's so bright, it's spiky, it's
But it does something, doesn't it?
Yeah, very good.
Especially if you hit it hard, you know.
Yeah.
Kind
of grainy.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, it's the same with the reverbs as well. You know, I really like the UAD. Is it the Ocean Way reverb?
Oh, the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We don't have UAD.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks freaking awesome.
It is good, and it's really good. Just if you want to just liven a guitar tone a little bit and just add a little bit. You don't really want a reverb, but you want space. You know.
Was that the one Dan was using, or what?
No,
was that?
he was using Ultiverb.
Yeah, and the Capital Chambers thing they've just brought out as well is pretty cool.
Is that for UAD?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The think about this. The EMT plates are pretty good with the UAD. And I like Valhalla as well. You know,
Valhalla, yeah, that's brilliant. That's
the vintage verb.
The interface kind of looks a bit like, and they've also got one called Soothe.
Yeah, I've just got Soothe 2 actually.
Soothe, that's brilliant.
It's good.
You can overuse it, mind you.
I was just going to say that. you can actually take out some of the nastiness that you need in the mix.
Talk about that with the Marshalls.
Yeah.
It would gravitate towards that frequency and.
Yeah.
But I think it's really good, especially I find it more in vocals.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I find myself using, those sort of soothing plugins on is vocals.
Well, it's so dynamic, a vocal, isn't it? You know, you can have some really, you know, you can have someone with a tooth missing that's got a bit of a whistle in there, and you just grab it. You know, so.
Actually, speaking of mics, is there a go-to mic for you for metal vocals, or is it totally dependent on the singer?
It's dependent on the singer.
So one you tend to gravitate more towards, use more sessions?
Oh God, who makes it? I've got a C12 that I used on Rob, which was, I can't remember the name of the company now, Canadian company. The one, it's funny, we were mentioning the warm stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a 47, which I've had a friend mod for me, which sounds great. I've got a 67 that's a hand-built thing that's really good, that my friend Chad did for me as well. SM7, again, a lot of people use those. It depends on, if you've got quite a gravelly singer, it can work pretty well because you can get right on it and you can compress it hard, and there's not too much, you know, if you're in an awkward room as well, you know, they just want a handheld. I think an SM7 can work, you know.
You've got enough gain, that's the only thing.
Well, I used that cloud lifter with it, just to...
Oh, I've got cloud lifter, because you can do kind of the same effect with getting an SM57 and then taking
the transformer out. Yeah.
And that I did that, and I used it on snare drum for yonks.
Yeah.
But you, again, needed that tactic gain.
Yeah, and it gives you get the more dynamics out of it, and the low end moves a little bit on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What do you like for monitoring?
I've just got Genelex 1031s.
Genelex 1031s?
I've had them for years and I'm used to them.
Yep.
Yeah. I've got the sub with it as well. I've got NS10s, and I've got the NS10s off the side, so I'm not sat in front of them. And a lot of the time when I'm just doing the donkey work, I'll just have it on the NS10s rather than getting blasted all day. And I just find not sitting between the monitors, you know what it's like, you'll do a mix and then you'll go and play it in a room, and you're not sat in front of the speakers like that in the room. You're walking around the room.
Absolutely.
And you get more of an idea of what it's sounding like.
So. Well, I always say to people when I send mixes out and they ask about how to reference that, you know, how to listen to their music, and I say just listen to the music where you listen to it. If that's earbuds, it's earbuds. Don't go and whack it in the kitchen stereo, because when you got a stereo in the kitchen, you're cooking. You're not critically listening, and I only listen to music two places. It's here and the car, and then at home on the TV. But it's really those two places. I've got a set of NS10s, but I haven't set them up because I just never ever use them. But I do a lot of mono, or just turn, as you said, you just turn your head and then instantly it's a totally different mix.
Yeah, I've got some of those Avantone cubes as well. I've seen
cool.
The self-powered ones, which are obviously the old like Oratones or Horatones, if you used to call them.
The Bose, there's a little Bluetooth over there.
What's that?
It's right, just right up here.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, I've got a Bose wave system in the kitchen.
Oh, have you?
Okay.
So I send it to my phone using that Audible thing.
Yeah.
And then I just plug it in there and then listen to it off there.
Yeah.
So it's always fun when I send it to myself. It's weird, but
Do you do the car mix? Like,
No, the Toyota I've got, I fucking hate this.
I got a diesel.
It's totally off-putting the stereo in that. Actually, it's not good at all. So it can put me in a really bad place. So have you seen that meme that's like the guy crying in his car? So that's me.
Or what about headphones? Do you think it's important to listen to a mix on headphones? Or
You should, but I never listen to music on headphones. I never. I don't like it. So I don't.
Okay.
I just listen to it in the studio, you know, on the Genelex, on the NS10s, then in the kitchen on the Bose, and then if it's, you know, obviously I get feedback from the musicians and seeing what they're hearing, you know. So.
And when considering for radio, like when you're mixing, are you thinking, do you have different mixes for aimed at sync or aimed at radio, or is it all just for?
No, it's just what I do. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't worry about it.
That's awesome. No, that's great. I mean, obviously it's been working. You've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I listen back to things I've done. I think, oh, I wish I'd done that. You know, an album's never finished. I was joking the other day. I'm still mixing Firepower, but it's like.
Do you ever pull up old mixes?
I hate it.
See, I can't do it. I did a record with a guy called Darren Buchanan, and it's a really cool record. And I did it on the DDA and what have you. And every now and again, like, you know, all this gear that I never had then, I'm like, I just can't even get it close. And I don't know if it's because it's done and I like to move forward and leave that's in the past. But
well, I've got all the old. I've got like Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, some of Turbo on multi-track because I've been learning the stuff, and Tom had it. He had it as a backup, so he's like, you have a listen to it, and it's fascinating to listen to this old stuff. You can literally hear the amps screaming. They were that loud in like a concrete room, and you can hear. You literally put the faders up, and it's the sound of the album. And you wouldn't want to change it. I mean, you could change it now, but I think an album. I always say it's a slice of time. It's where the band were at. It's where technology was at. It's where the producer was at.
Yeah.
I like that.
And it's where totally you shouldn't change it. Because it's, you could improve it, but at the end of the day, we remember albums with a certain charm and a character, and that's part of the experience. So.
Yeah, you keep going back and knocking away, but it is, as you say, it's a point in time.
It's the faults that make it as well.
Yeah, you remember the when it was all done, you're like, oh God, and then on to the next project.
Yeah,
it's funny you forget about them quite quick afterwards. But
I don't listen to them when I finish an album. I never listen to it because I've heard it. I've heard it so many times.
Yeah.
Right.
And it pulls me apart. I mean, I'm just finishing this mix at the moment. Driving myself nuts with it.
I was about to ask you, do you take it home with you? So in the sense, like...
Yeah, I live there.
Like, if I do a mix and then I get it in the car or something, and I've been working on it maybe too hard, and I'll get in the car and I'll listen to it, and it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm in a shitty mood.
Oh, it'll kill me.
Yeah. And I'll chat to my wife about it, and I'll constantly be thinking about that until I get in the studio the next day, and then I... rectify it,
And I tell you what, the best thing you can do is walk away from it sometimes and come back in the morning with fresh ears, and then go on your gut instinct the first time you hear it in the morning.
I only listen to it once on the way home, unless I think it's rocking. Then I'll be really happy and be like, oh, until the recalls come.
But I don't even do that. I live at the studio, so I'll literally shut that door, walk upstairs, cry, and then
tea and a biscuit.
Then get up at 4 a.m. and EQ the hi-hat. Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
But I think it's that that has stood me in good stead, because I take a real pride in what I do, and I really try and do the best job I can. And if I go a week overtime or 2 weeks overtime, I don't get paid for it. I do it because I love it and I want it to be right.
That's our philosophy as well.
Yeah.
It's only, you've got to be like that.
I'd hate to lose work or a client or someone's, kind of respect you say over something because you as a professional couldn't be bothered to put in that extra bit of
They're
time.
paying you.
They're paying you, and exactly. And I really hated, like, if they, I won't have it will do. It can't be, and it will do ish, and the other thing I hate, it sounds so daft, it's like when I send the mix off to a band, like when I was just working with Bandits and that, and you're waiting, and then you get the text saying, smashed it out of the park, and you're like, and then the rest of the night's fine, I can sit at home, watch some crappy Netflix, but I will be thinking about that, and then I won't, it's like, calling, I won't call them, I'll wait until like the next, you heard the mix yet, sort of thing, but it does eat away at you for a bit.
Yeah. You want it to be right. Yeah. I'm glad someone else is suffering like me.
Yeah, it's like alcoholics. Nobody gets it. Like, I'll chat to my wife at home about it, and she'd just go,
she won't get it.
It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry, put a kettle on. Yeah. But it's true, and I think it's because you do put a lot of time, heart and soul into it, and sometimes you might do a move or something that is a bit daring, like you might mute some stuff. I'm doing some pre-production with a band at the moment, and I've muted all the guitars, and then copy and pasted the intro. And I was like, I'm going to send this off because I think it's better. And it was, they're like thumbs up and that, but because you are coming at it, with, is it objectivity or whatever it is?
You're unbiased.
Unbiased. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Because I didn't write the track, I didn't have to live with it. I haven't seen it. I've got demo-itis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel good. I feel like I'm refreshed now.
Have you had any epic battles with bands or labels where you're just like standing your ground?
What used to really annoy me was Roadrunner used to want the radio edit, and they used to think taking some screaming out and double kicks out would make it acceptable for radio. And they had this idea of, you've got to tame it down for radio, and it was just, you're losing the vibe of the song here.
Really? I would have thought.
Would be... Oh no! Right, they had the
take out the
guys.
double kicks and
it was like, I was like, if Lamb of God can get on the radio, I think yeah, exactly. I mean, someone was losing focus over what could get on there. That used to annoy me big time. Doesn't happen so much now, obviously, but and epic battles. Not really. I'd actually say I'm quite good at being diplomatic in the studio. It's part of the job, isn't it? You've got to know how to deal with the situation. I think if you're going to sort of blow up and get in a band's face about something, you're not going to be working in the business long. I don't think. So you sort of and it's their album at the end of the day. You can suggest something, and you might know it's better, but if they're steadfast in it, it's their error to make, isn't it? So I think you can push for something, but you've got to know when to step back and sort of go, right, well, okay. And I do little things where it's, if you're having that, then I want that bridge on that, and I'll trade you.
I'll trade you.
Yeah, and
I like it.
Usually you can get away with it. A bit of to and fro.
Turn the hi-hats, turn up a bit too loud, and then bring it back down again.
Yeah. Or is that sweet fuck all button?
Oh, yeah. The DFA.
Yeah, just DFA. And I've caught myself out with that myself when I've been turning it thinking that's bad, and you realise you're on the wrong channel. Yeah, okay, I've gone too far into this now.
Bypass, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So when all is said and done, and it's a wrap on the career, what do you think will define the Andy Sneap sound, or the ethos, I guess?
Well, people say that it's Andy Sneap sound, and whether that's a good thing or not. Some people don't like what I do, some people do. But I think I've always tried to get clarity, punch, and just the way I hear things, and people try and copy it, and I always say you can't do that. You've got to do your own thing, because I hear it a certain way in my head, to where it's a performance mix at the end of the day, where you try and get it to a balance where you're happy with it, and it's only the way you perceive it, and that's the way everyone's got to do this job. It's the way you perceive something, and that will put your character on it. Any producer that's good, Bob Rock, Lang. I'm not saying I'm in the same league as those guys, but they've got a certain. It's their record straight away, because that's what they do. They perceive it a certain way. They've got the way they work the sonics and the way they work the bands, and CLA as well. He's got his thing that he does, and it's them straight away. And I think you balance it in your head. You can hear it the way it should be and the way it should move you, and it comes across. And that is really. People say, all your stuff sounds the same, and actually, when you A/B it back to back, it doesn't sound the same. But it's got the same character, because you put your stamp on it, and you bring out the band, hopefully bring out the band's character with your sheen to it. That's the way I look at it.
And these things you naturally gravitate towards, I think.
Yeah.
Like when I'm mixing, it's interesting to go through all my recalls and look at how I'm making guitars, vocals, and drums. They're slightly different, but they're all roughly in the same ballpark, and kind of this. And again, my processing is generally the same. But
did you go out of your way, especially when you were starting out, trying to make a name for yourself? Did you go out of your way to do something different or innovative or quirky at all?
I just did my thing.
Did your thing,
and I didn't try and copy anyone. I was just doing, that sounds good, and just learnt from mistakes. I've never had any sort of training on this side of things. I just picked it up as I went along, and I think I just knew what I heard on other people's records I liked the sound of, the sort of the depth to a record, or the clarity on the drums, and I was just trying to achieve that with the tools that I had, and you come up with a certain, working on certain equipment, so you know what you can get out of that gear, and then when you upgrade to a different desk, you sort of then apply that to that desk, and it's, oh, that's a bit different, and you've got a chain of events that eventually gets you to where you're working, you know. So no, I didn't try and copy anyone in particular, or do anything particularly different. I just did what out of experimentation, really, out of trying to get clarity and what I thought was right. And I've probably made a few mistakes down the way and learnt from them, and I'm probably still doing a few things wrong, but it's part of what I do, you know. So
That's great, man. We are so excited to have you here at Essex Recording Studios. This has been great. I think everyone's learned a lot. We've had a great time chatting with you, and the fans here on the channel will definitely appreciate your time here today.
Cool.
So thank you so much. Everybody, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you soon with some more videos. Probably some videos of these guitars coming up. So stick around, and thanks for hanging out with us. Later, guys.